Why did they keep this a secret? You have 3 seconds to scroll if you have an Abraham.
Shalom, peace. Peace, peace, peace. Hopefully all is well with you. Just wanted to talk real quick, speak real quick on something. Those of you who would like to, please go back, listen to the entire video. If I be honest with you, it's one of those videos that honestly, it's been sent to me, as others were, and I'll respond to a couple others just to give a heads up. But this was sent to me, and it's going to be a long one, probably close to 10 minutes. We'll see. But it's one of those videos where it's like I feel like I'm talking to family, talking to a younger sibling, and I'm about to say some things that I know that the younger sibling is very diligent and zealous and really believes what they're talking about, and it's probably going to be brushed aside. However, I'm still going to make sure that I present some facts. So if you've gotten a chance to watch the whole video, this is stitched to. And by the way, please do so. If you don't know what this young brother's talking about, I'm not going to, right? So please go if you haven't. All right, hopefully you've come back now, right? I'm going to simply lay out some things that kind of show that you're wrestling against principalities. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. What is a principal thing? A principal thing is an original thing. It's also foundational. So we're speaking on things of their origin and culture, and you're using a bunch of cultures and a bunch of how persons believe many different things instead of the culture and the belief of what the persons originally believed. Now you say you're doing the opposite of that, but let's check this out. So one of the things that you talked about is that Israel could not have had a monotheistic society. There was no such thing back then, which is something that many persons say, whether they be Eurocentric, Afrocentric, Eastern oriented in their belief, etc. Right? Many persons who go to many of these modern schools today will tell you that nobody could have had a monotheistic belief system. It's something that eventually came into being. Problem with this is that even if you're talking about something like evolution, right? How you're telling me that everybody came from a belief system of automatically saying that they worshiped everything and then somehow devolved into saying one. It's kind of odd, right? Number one. Number two, we have an issue because we have somebody in the history books, and if you believe the Bible, then please allow me to add a couple other persons in the history books. But we have one person in the history book that's extremely important that many of you will know about. You'll at least know his name, King Tut, right? Pharaoh Tutankhamun. All right. Why does that matter? Well, Pharaoh Tutankhamun reigned. He didn't live. I'm pretty sure he didn't live past 20 years of age, or not too far past it if he did. But he basically died as a youth, right? So he was put on the throne after his brother. His brother, right, who was married to Queen Nefertiti, was Pharaoh Akhenaten. That's an important person, and he's the son of Queen Tai. Why does that matter? Why is that something important? Number one, it's important that we catch that because Pharaoh Akhenaten has a belief system that you say doesn't exist. Now, Moses and the Pharaoh he went against, if you believe that Ramses II is the Pharaoh he went against, most persons believe that. Some persons argue that, if we be honest. But Moses, right, if he exists when Ramses II does, exists like 1330 something and after that, somewhere around there. So King Tut, Ramses II would have been around 13, I believe. Please forgive me, I might be off on this. Somewhere around 1300 something BC. And so Moses and him going back and forth during that time. Then before that, you have King Tut, 1323 or so, right? Then before King Tut, his older brother, Pharaoh Akhenaten, is on the throne. Pharaoh Akhenaten was a monotheist. It's famous, written, documented, historical, where you can look it up for yourself, where Akhenaten literally decided there were no other netures, because they didn't have gods. I'll explain that in a second. But they had no other netures except the sun. That was it. It was a huge, extreme thing because it was something that had been done, in little small groups. But the first time that any pharaoh would ever decide that there was only one netur to be worshipped, which means that we have literally right before the reign 2 pharaohs, no more than no more than 10 to 15 years before Ramses and Moses, we have two pharaohs that literally, right? Or I'm sorry, we have two pharaohs before it. Literally, one of the pharaohs says that he believes in monotheism and says the kingdom will believe in it. So that in of itself, we kind of already fall apart. Number one, right? Number two, you brought up a lot about Elion. The problem with Elion is that you have to say the scripture properly. I believe what you brought up was, for Elion was Genesis chapter 14, verse 18, and maybe through 22, if I'm not mistaken. Problem with that scripture is we have to keep it in context. We have Abraham, who's going to Melchizedek. And Abraham, who is about to literally leave a tithe to Melchizedek. And then when they say Elion, it's not Elion, it's Al-Elion. In English, they say of the Most High. That's how I can tell we're not dealing with original. Because the original, Al means higher, or the highest, or higher than, or on top of. Which means that if we translate it correctly, or at least a better translation, it would not be of the Most High. It would be higher than the Most High. It would be up above the Most High, etc. But it doesn't. But it says Al-Elion. You're saying Elion is supposed to be Elohim. You're saying he's supposed to be Yahavah, or as you were saying, Yahweh, right? Problem with that is according to that verse, which by the way is still not the way we should say it, right? It's taking that. That's still, you have to learn how to actually put those words properly together, because it wouldn't refer to it being higher than, but that's how many persons would read it. That being said, though, and what you're saying, you actually, that verse then, if what you're saying is correct, says that Yah is higher than Elion. Right? I'm not talking about what modernized stuff says or persons have changed. We're talking about the origin of it. I study and teach Avda, which is the original name for Hebrew, where you get Ivrit, Ivrits, etc., all that stuff out of Hebrew. That's the original name that it would have been given. All right. Now, we keep going past that, though. Even with that, when you talk about Abrahamic covenant, here's one of the things that you were talking about when you say the children of the Most High. Why would he have to reintroduce who he is to the Most High and say, I am your God? First of all, God is a Germanic term. The way you're using it, it's a Germanic term. God in the Germanic sense means anything you want can be worshipped. That's also God and good, interchangeable. Anything you want can be good. Right? That's if you're of the Germanic belief system. But God in Hebrew means troop, a troop of individuals ready to fight. It's also a name of one of the sons of Israel, which means that when they say God in Hebrew, they're not thinking the same as Elohim or El Shaddai or Al Elyon. All right, now watch this though. Israel speaks what Isaac spoke. Isaac spoke what Abraham spoke. According to Jubilees chapter 12, right, you have to realize that why is it so important that the children of Israel, that this family is getting back on track, and why is Abraham so important in this covenant? Well, Abraham comes from Adam. When you talk about the sons of Adam, that's not that difficult, obviously, right? But they were talking about a particular family. When we go Adam, Seth, Enos, Canaan, Mahalalel, I'm forgetting one before Enoch, please forgive me. Jared, then Enoch, then Methuselah, then Lamech, then Noah, then Shem. Shem meaning authority, name, authorized. So these persons authorized. Shem gives birth to who? Arphaxad, who gives birth to Salah. Pause and think about it, which means that Salah gives birth to Avda, or Hebrew, right? Then through Peleg, the second son, when the earth splits, that's what his name means. You keep going down to the names, and you realize that before you get to Abraham, the fathers of Abraham got away from who the Most High was and decided they wanted to stop believing in him and worshiping him. They didn't care about El Shaddai. They actually were worshiping and protecting and sucking up to Nimrod. After Abraham's father passes away, right? And matter of fact, if you want more information, I'll look up the book of Jasher for more information. But after his father passes away, he then leaves. He's been given, because of his faithfulness, the language of all creation, which is Avda, Hebrew, which is the same thing that person spoke all the way back to Adam. And then on top of that, it also says that he's given the scrolls of his fathers. Abraham breaks away from those who were of Aramaic or Padan Aram or Syrian, or the original Syrians. So there's a lot of stuff that you're saying. Ultimately, it doesn't really jive and it doesn't make complete sense. But keep studying though.